in 2003 when Ross did his rice study. Rice didn't have time to do his Ross study. We found that height for age was low. In other words, kids grew more slowly. And we found that weight for age was also below the international norms. Weight for height, people were skinny. And the growth is really a lot slower than here. There's been, our sort of rapid growth, especially among girls, has been attributed to our high-fat, high-protein diet. And girls get their first period here at the average age of 11, and in many traditional societies it might be 15 or even 16. And so there's just maturation is a lot faster here, and it's usually attributed to diet. And you can see that boys grew very slowly. If you look at the ages there, they really didn't reach their adult age until they were around 18. Girls grew a little bit faster. They were getting their adult growth around 14 or so, and and they're average 5 feet tall. So they're not tiny people. They're a little bit smaller than the average American. But we looked at the pattern. They grow. The international standards are based on American and European standards, and so we don't know how much of this has to do with the diet, how much of it has to do with inherited characteristics of a population, and we don't know how much of it has to do with living at high elevation. Because I saw one study that I think it's 1 centimeter of height for every 1,000 feet of elevation, something like that. So if you're living at 8,000 feet elevation, these people are, you'd be expected the same person, same genetic endowment, and same diet would expect to be 8 centimeters shorter than they would at sea level. I don't know, how verified that is and so forth, but it's an interesting, another interesting thing. And is it an evolutionary, physiologically adaptive response to low protein, low fat dietary conditions? In other words, if you have a diet that's low protein, low fat, maybe then you develop, by natural selection, you develop a proclivity to grow more slowly, so that you don't have a diet, you never have a dietary deficiency. You don't have a deficiency when you need the food. And adults end up full size, and they end up strong. But people from, say, 3 when they're weaned to 13 or 14 are just way smaller in proportion to their eventual adult height than people are here. And so it's, we never really finished it. Ross wrote a paper, and it was kind of interesting, but Ross always wanted to be an elementary school teacher, and he did. And so he, and Bettina and I have been thinking about trying to get together the data, but the question is here, has diet changed since 2002, 2003, and what are the implications? And the red there is the first sort of thing that goes along with my title for today, undergraduate research opportunities, right? Somebody needs to do this again, because there's a possibility of real social change. Are you asking a question yet?
So they just gradually grew and no growth spurts were, but...
Yeah, growth spurt, but it's later. Yeah.
Steve, can I ask a question? What is, if in the study is saying that they were they were small, skinny, but based on their diet, I've always wondered, because if you eat so much rice and so many potatoes, does that make you fatter? Is it just the elevation that they live at, or what?
No.
Because they're not eating lean meat, which is...
Well, they just don't have as much protein as we do, as much fat. So they're very skinny, and we could go back here, but where did
Where's the potatoes?
Yeah, here we go. Height for age is below international norms. Weight for age is below international. Height for weight is below international norms. And what that tells you basically is that people are undernourished. They're only mildly. I've got a couple more graphs I didn't put in because this is not the only thing I'm presenting today. But people were sort of, have mild malnutrition. They showed no signs of severe malnutrition. And it's partly not just getting not enough to eat, but it's also partly not getting enough protein. You know, we overconsume protein and fat, but they underconsume. There's a happy medium in there. Okay, so the other thing that we're talking about is ethnobotany. The fellow with the beard and the white cap is Professor Dick Olmsted. He's the Associate Director of the Berg Museum and the head of the University Herbarium, which is where the plant specimen collection. And he spent 2 weeks there with us, and many of his students collecting plants and classifying all the plants. We've collected over a 2-year period. We collected about 350 plants from the area, and we made 3 collections. We made one for the university there, one to bring back here, which we never got a permit to bring back here. It's still sitting there, and one that stays at the school, and for the kids to use. And then we work together with local people. You see the gentleman in the top center. His name is Gabu Ashre, who's we call him Apu. He's grandpa, and he's the grandfather of that girl in the red shirt there with the arms to the sleeve pushed up. Her name is Fuga, and she's from the village. She's now actually a graduate student at a university in Chengdu studying folklore studies. And so we made all those plant specimens, but we also did the anthro part with ethnobotanizing, and that's Victoria there, who was not an anthro major. She was a ESRM, Ecological Science and Resource Management major in College of Forest Resources. But Victoria was the single best natural anthropologist I've ever seen at any level. She was just an amazing ethnographer. She picked up the language. She was already trilingual when she went there, spoke good Chinese, native German and English, and she picked up the Nosu language like nobody. None of our other students have ever picked it up, but she could actually convert a simple conversation in it, and she could find everything out in just such a hurry, and she had such a mind for it. But my last slide is where are these people now? I'm not going to tell you where any of them are now, but it'll surprise you where she is now. She's not an anthropologist. Too bad. But you know, these are the most commonly collected wild plants, firewood varieties, commonly collected animal food plants. So not just what the plants are, but how people use them. And then we have a huge Excel sheet that has over 350 plants, and I just put part of it there, but you can kind of see what we have there. The comments, the Yi language name, the use, the scientific name, the notable characteristics, the Chinese name, and then the plant family that it's part of. And we have a list of about 350, and it's really fairly complete. So if you look at the use column, there's really interesting stuff. Well, no use, just problematic. Mountain goat, eat the tops. Wild oats, good to eat. He has no idea. We're talking to the old man. Bees make mild honey with it. If a wolf attacks a sheep, you can dress a wound with it. Put it behind your ears, can cure earaches. Can use it nail polish, so forth and so forth. So we really, for all the plants, we have a good thing. And this was done by Rachel Meyer the year after Victoria, and they were the two main ones who did this ethnobotany. But this project needs somebody to complete it and publish it. It's definitely a publishable project if we actually get everything together. Rachel would like to do it, but she's busy. I'll tell you where she is later on. Okay, so I want to show you, Sarah was a anthro major, and this should click. Yeah. Just watch this. Can you guys hear it all?